Coming up on the Infected Festival of Books, FARC founder Drew Curtis explains what's wrong with the news. Gator takes to the open road, and Martin admits he's functionally illiterate.
I can't read without my glasses.
Reading is fun again with Infected.
Infected.
Hello and welcome to Infected, the internet television equivalent of Finnegan's Wake, in that Finnegan's Wake is really good, but no one in their right mind would ever fucking read it. I'm Internet's Martin Sargent. And this is the Infected Festival of Books. And let me introduce you the co-chair of the festival. He's like the guy who's the glutinous, sticky shit that sticks two pages together in the infected tome.
Something you find in the public library.
The Gator, everyone! The Gator!
How you doing, buddy?
I'm getting a little liquored up, as you can tell.
You better slow down, buddy, because I'm in a good mood tonight, man.
It's the Festival of Books.
I'm an avid reader.
You a big reader?
Man, I love reading. Yep. My daddy used to read to me every week. Take me down to the basement. It was weird, though, because he'd get this look in his eye, a real distant look, and he'd take me down in the cellar. And
why you got to go down to the cellar?
I don't know why we did. We're down by his workbench behind the water heater, and we'd get down there, and we'd all hunker down on the floor. And
Who's your dad, Freddie fucking Krueger?
I don't even know how he saw the pages, because he'd read out of this one woodworking book that he had. It was like a woodworking, it was called The Good Table Book or something. He'd just read and read in the same voice, and he'd just read the same page over and over again for hours. And we did that for years. I liked doing it, but one day he got up and he fired up. He had a belt sander down there, and he just fired up the fucking belt sander, and he started belt sanding on his work table, and he just sanded it down till the whole thing just collapsed in a big pile of dust, and all his tools and everything just went into a big pile. Then he walked upstairs, and actually that was the last time my daddy ever spoke to me. He never said another word to me for the rest of our lives. But while he was reading to me, it was magical. He'd read sometimes out of like a catalog, my mom would get these tablets catalogs or something. He'd just read about like shoes or something. He'd just read that, and he'd read about.
That's the saddest fucking story I've ever heard, man.
No, it was good, man.
Have you yourself ever thought about writing a book?
I did write a book once in the 80s, early 80s. It was called The Geisha in the Snow. It was about a love affair that a foreign man had with a geisha over there in the snow country in Japan. I don't think nobody ever read it, though.
No, I don't think so either.
Look it up. It's called Geisha in the Snow.
You can get that on Amazon?
I bet you could, yeah.
No,
it was still in print. Can't. I still got a copy of it. I should bring it in.
Yeah, I should write a fucking book. All the other internet celebrities are writing books. Maddox. Shut up, Chung. Maddox wrote a book. I
should write a book.
The dude from Poop Report just wrote a book.
What would you write your book about?
Well, that's the thing. We're going to have Drew Curtis on the show tonight from FARC.com. He just wrote a book. Well, that's the thing. The problem with my writing a book is that whole you write what you know thing. I don't know fucking shit. What do I know? What am I going to write a book about? How to score really high in Mega Touch, playing photo hunt like in some LA dive bar with a bunch of old guys drunk sitting around like on a sunny Tuesday afternoon. Who's going to read that fucking book? No one.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, Dave Chung would read that book.
Well, you could write a book about like.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know shit. Now I'm on the downy dumps, man.
I want to write a book about.
Depressed.
I either want to write a book about bathtubs, like bathtubs of the world, bathtubs that I've used. I love bathtubs.
I've used bathtub about 3-4 books.
I use bathtubs all the time. I'm a big bathtub user, and I like the kind with the metal claws on them that come up off the ground a little bit. I could write poetically about that. I could also write me a book about like brothels. Southern Indiana. Yeah,
that you could write about, I'm sure.
Like the truck stop network of brothels in Southern Indiana.
Yeah, write what you know. Exactly.
Write about all the girls I've known.
This is depressing. We're hoping that there's going to be a whole influx of new viewers from FARC.com. What are we giving them?
I'm going to write a book called You and Your Truck.
Now. You know what's going to bring me out of the downy dumps?
What?
A little game. You want to play a little game?
Not really, but I will.
I want to play a game. Can I get some game show music, please? Thank you. Shut the fuck up.
Dave
We're going to put it in post. All right, here's the name of the game. The name of the game is Black Feminist Book or Black Themed Porno. All right, I'm going to give you a title, and then you have to tell me. You have to tell me if the title that I tell you is the title of a black feminist book or a black themed porno.
All right,
You
then.
understand the rules?
I read a lot of black feminist books.
Okay, good. You understand the rules. Here's your first title. When Chicken Heads Come Home to Roost. Is it a black feminist book or a black-themed porno? When Chicken Heads Come Home to Roost.
You're asking me now?
Yeah.
Black feminist book.
That's correct. It's a black feminist book.
I read that 4 times in the bathtub.
The full title is When Chicken Heads Come Home to Roost, a hip-hop feminist breaks it down. Let's go on to your next title. Next title is Bone Black. Bone Black. Is that a black feminist book or a black-themed porno? Bone Black.
Porno. I watched that in the bathtub too.
Judges? No, I'm sorry. That is a black feminist book. It is Bone Black: Memories of Girlhood.
Damn.
It's by brilliant yet abrasive black cultural critic Bell Hooks.
I used to watch that over with the geisha when I lived in
You're
Japan.
thinking of Black Bone. That's a black-themed porno.
Okay,
but
sorry.
Bone Black is black. Okay, let's do the third one. It's Black by Popular Demand. Black by Popular Demand. Is that a black-themed porno or a black feminist book?
I think it's a porno.
That is correct. It's a porno starring Charisma, Rosemary, and Shawnee Cates.
Charisma, man.
Here's your next
I like
one.
angel eyes.
Addicted to
Sucking
Black
dick.
Crack. Addicted to Black Crack. Is that a black feminist book or a black-themed porno?
I believe that was written by Maya Angelou. That was her last book of poems. Addicted to black crack.
No, I'm sorry.
Addicted to black crack. When the summer sun shines.
No,
over
I'm
the
sorry. That's
cornfield.
actually by Toni Morrison. No, it's a black-themed porno.
Damn.
It's a black-themed porno. It's
Damn.
distributed by Juicy Films and starring Ariel, Alexis, and Capri Styles. Here's your next one. Sister
Styles.
Circle. Sister Circle. Black feminist book or black-themed porno?
Porno.
No, it's a black feminist
Damn.
book. It's Sister Circle, Black Women and Work.
Now this game's harder than I thought it was
Yeah.
going to be.
Here's another one. Happy to be nappy. Happy to be nappy.
That's a black feminist book.
That is correct. Also by Bell Hooks.
I used to get my hair cornrowed by that woman who wrote that.
Bell Hooks.
Yeah.
The abrasive yet brilliant black scholar Bell Hooks. Here's your last one. Finally, cum-drenched black tits. Cum-drenched black tits. Is that a black feminist book or a black-themed porno?
I think that was Toni Morrison's book.
No, that is a black-themed porno. Also starring Ariel, Alexis, and
My daddy used to read
Naomi
that.
Banks. Naomi Banks.
Oh, I love that Naomi.
Pretty
Banks.
good. You did pretty good there.
I
Side
did not.
note,
I got about 40%
You
right.
did all right. If you're looking for books by Bell Hooks, know that she doesn't capitalize the first letter of her name, Bell or Hooks. And if you're looking for movies by Naomi Banks, she spells her last name Banxxx. Just a little clarification so there's no confusion.
Thank you for that.
All right, I feel a little better now. Let's move on.
Game always brighten your spirits, though, won't it, Mark?
You know, let's dog-ear this page of the Infected Festival of Books. So let's turn our attention to music for just a second.
Let's dovetail that into a music thing.
The music of our friend, my man down in Gainesville, Ricky Kang's Self-Defense Act. You know, he's been counting down his top 5 albums of all time.
What are we up
for
to
us.
now?
We're up to number 1 now.
Number
He's gonna give
one?
us
No,
the
we didn't do
one.
number 2, did we?
Yeah, we did last week. So, you know, he's done Megadeth. What else he done? Molly Hatchet.
He did,
Black Sabbath, Paranoid. And now,
Queen
here it is.
Queen Van Tran and Bao Si Lu or something.
Yeah,
What is
that
this?
one.
That Spirit Chant book.
Spirit Chant. Here it is. Ricky Kang's greatest album of all time. From Gainesville, Florida. Here's Ricky Kang.
Go, Ricky. Oh, what's up? What's up? What's up, Warriors? What's up, Warriors? Ricky Kang here. We've been counting down Ricky Kang's top 5 record albums of all time. You know where we are this week? We're at number 1. And this is a motherfucker of an album right here. This is called Druid Chants, 61 AD from the Isle of Anglesey. Now, this is something you might not know about Ricky Kang, but my style of Kung Fu is so advanced that it lets me live forever. So I was there in 61 AD. I was hanging out with the Druids, and we were partying. I don't know if y'all know anything about Druids. I do. They're some crazy motherfuckers is what they are. Let me tell you, we used to sing these chants, man. We'd sing these chants, and we'd run through the sacred groves of oak trees, man. We'd smear ourselves in mud, and we'd just lay down on the ground. We'd fuck, man. we tear off our tunics, man. You think about that, man. Chanting, fucking. It's crazy, man. That's why this album is my number one, because it ain't nothing else compared to it. You can't even get this album anywhere. You know why? Because this album don't even exist. It only exists anywhere. It don't exist nowhere. I guess it only exists in Ricky Kang's head. That's the only place it is anymore. But y'all come down to Gainesville and Ricky Kang will fucking sing it for you. I'll sing it for you. We'll party. We'll drink some motherfucking Tecate lights and we will party. And hey, Martin, Quasi-Toto, buddy. Martin, thanks for letting me do this, buddy. Quasi-Toto, I'm coming for you, boy. I'm gonna head up there. We're gonna party. Ricky Kang, that's it, folks. Woo!
Thanks, Ricky. Quasi-Toto. Quasi-Toto.
Ricky's crazy.
All right, as the Festival of Books continues, we're going to talk to Fark.com founder Drew Curtis about his new book. It's called It's Not News, It's Fark, right after this word from our sponsor.
Yeah!
The Infected Festival of Books is brought to you by Books for Seniors. We read to old people so you don't have to. And now Tyson Beckford reads to an old person.
And then Ralph Lauren's spring collection revolutionized casual elegance by featuring the surplus weathered chino pant. Worn with no socks and a pair of loafers, these pants harken back to a bygone era when a man's style was his word, and his word was solid oak. Who in the Sam Hill are you, and why are you in my room, reading to me out of a goddamn pant catalog? Silence, old man, or I'll tie you up with your IV line and fuck you raw. You think my bald head is big? Oh, is that why you're in your underpants?
Books for Seniors. We read to old people so you don't have to. Volunteer today.
Infected. Infected.
Infected.
And welcome back to the Infected Festival of Books. My next friend is the founder of Fark, one of the original and still one of the best and most entertaining social news networking sites on internet. And he's author of the new book, It's Not News, It's Fark. Here's Drew Curtis. How you doing, Drew?
I'm lit up, man. How you guys doing?
Doing great. So good to have you here on the Sargecast, man. I got to ask you right at the get-go here, you know, you guys were doing this sort of thing before you ever heard the word social networking on the internet. Fark's been around forever. Do you ever get jealous of all the attention and all the money that seems to be thrown at all these Web 2.0 companies out there? Because Fark's been doing this since the hills, man.
I'm not too worried about it, actually. One of the things that's kind of nice about Fark is that, and this is just from my personal standpoint, it's my third business. And I had the first business that I had was an internet service provider. It had a shareholder on board, actually a few of them. And that's when I learned that if you get just even one guy in the door, it really just kind of sucks. So I'm not too worried about it at all. One thing I learned fairly early on, like I said, was that venture capital is not it's not free money. It comes with strings.
So you're doing all right. You don't need the venture capital.
You're making enough. We're just kind of hanging out, having a good time, and we'll be here for a long time.
You got to be. Come on, you can't tell me that you wouldn't like to be on the cover of Business Week, the $60 million kid like Kevin Rose was over at Dig.
Well, I was on the cover of Business 2.0, but I didn't have any fancy figures to back it up. They just kind of put me on there because I think they like the picture of me sitting on the horse farm fence out in the middle of nowhere.
I still say that you started this, man. You started sitting around drinking beer and doing the news, man. Not Kevin Rose. You did it.
Well, sort of, but I mean, how hard is that, really? It's not like you can get like a premium on that. Anybody can sit around and drink and talk about the news. In fact, I think there's probably about 1,000 radio shows every day that start their day out like that.
I do it every morning, actually, only with whiskey.
I got the drinking part down. I ain't got around to
I'm
the
pretty good
news
at that, too, myself.
Yeah, your new book, It's Not News, It's Fark. It's sort of an analysis of what's fucked up about the news business. And the information you got in there, it's called from about 10 years of experience of your reading over 2,000 user-submitted stories every day. What, in your estimation, is the most fucked up thing about the news business right now?
Well, I think where it all kind of started going wrong, and this is kind of sad to say, but I think that the era of the impartial news source is pretty much past us. And it was kind of an aberration in the general scheme of things. Before that, most people probably don't realize, but most cities in the United States had 2 or 3 different news sources. Yeah. And the reason they did is because they would have the liberal news source and the conservative news source, and then maybe the offbeat kind of, and I don't mean offbeat in the way the FARC is offbeat, but they were all politically oriented, basically. And that happened up until about the advent of radio. when radio came out, and this was kind of continuing along with TV, there were no 24-hour news channels, and news was pretty much just this kind of thing that they had as a value add. You know, they would just kind of it was something they gave half an hour to an hour to every single day, and didn't spend a whole lot of time, you know, necessarily on it per se. But because they only spent half an hour to an hour with it, they ended up having a really good product. And so, and I think that combined with, you know, a lot of other historical events like World War II and whatnot, you ended up with a lot of impartial news sources. But where things started going the other direction is once we started having 24-hour news channels, and this was compounded by the internet, where all of a sudden every single other previous media outlet has now become a 24-hour news channel. The problem is that you've got to find some crap to fill the space when nothing's going on. And this week is a great example. Nothing's going on this week.
Yeah, so there's, you finger in your book all these sort of preposterous things that the news organizations do to create that filler. What is, in your mind, the most preposterous tactic that they use?
I don't know that they're all preposterous tactics per se. It's actually one of those things that it's like, I think people have kind of noticed it already, but nobody's really been able to kind of nail it down. One of the ones that I think is kind of really iffy is called, I call it media fear-mongering, where basically what they do is they take something that's not likely to kill you. For example, we've all seen the local news start off with, and I'm just paraphrasing here, but you'll notice, like, say, like 5:30, 6 o'clock, you're sitting around watching, if you're watching a local network channel, and they'll break in and they'll be like, can this common household object kill you? Turn it into 11 and find out.
Children's backpacks. What you don't know can kill you.
What your family needs to know about file cabinets.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's like, you know, it's that kind of stuff, or it's like, you know, whether or not there's any bacteria on your keyboard, or whether or not, like, what's the one I saw today? They're doing something on the old standby, the New Madrid Fault that runs along the Mississippi River. They talk about how there's a 9 in 10 chance that the next 50 years there'll be a 7.0 earthquake out here. Which I realize you guys out in California, you just kind of ride those out, but out here in the heartland, you get a 7.0. It's a big mess because
when that New Madrid goes, it's going to bang church bells in Pennsylvania. I tell you what, buddy. Now, I don't know too much about news, but this is a Gator here. But the only thing I'm certain about news is that I really desperately want to fuck Greta Van Susteren.
You know what? After she got that plastic surgery, she looks kind of hot. I'm kind of right there with you.
Hell yeah.
He's got a Greta shrine in his truck, man. It's
I got
the creepiest fucking thing. But is it really the news organization's fault, or is it the public? Because they're the one. It's a ratings game. I mean, the news organizations know that when they do a story on the shark, in the summer of the shark, more people are going to watch. So is the finger of blame pointed at the news or at the consumer of the news?
It's kind of a combination. I mean, we were talking about how now everybody's pretty much a 24-hour news source. I think the major shift that's occurred in the last few years is that it's the way that news is consumed. Previously, news was consumed kind of like in bulk. You would pick up the issue of Newsweek, and you would consume the entire thing. I don't know that, I mean, I'm sure Newsweek did some studies to figure out what people were reading, but it really didn't matter whether or not they were picking it up for the fact that they had their little amusing conventional wisdom tidbit thing they would let off, or the collection of political cartoons, or whether or not you read it for the in-depth political analysis. Now what's happening, though, is that Newsweek.com is a functioning entity, and they're tracking what people are looking at based on what story they're checking out. And in order to try to raise the value of the entire site, have advertising inventory to sell to people, you've got to be kind of cognizant of what people are going to. And it turns out that what people really like is dick jokes. They pretty much want to talk about boobies and sex and maybe, you know, some stuff that might make them $1 million. I mean,
trust us, Drew, they don't really like that all that much.
Yeah, they needed a bunch of high-priced consultants to tell them that people are interested in sex organs. I mean, come on, everyone knows that, right?
Well, yeah, the problem is that it didn't matter up until recently. You know, now that you can, I mean, nobody ever goes to Newsweek.com and reads everything. Now we're going there, we're just checking out a couple things, and people are basically going to the lowest common denominator.
Yeah, I jack off to the Periscope section of Newsweek every week.
There you go. That's a perfect example. And so what they've got to do is they've got to decide, well, here's the thing. It's like you want to have advertising inventory on the Internet to give advertisers, but if everybody wants to read about Anna Nicole Smith or, you know, what the latest thing with Don Imus is, how do you sell inventory and still continue to be a serious news source? And it's kind of a push-pull thing. I think a lot of decisions are going to have to be made in the next few years.
I would like to see more coverage of killer bees, though. I fucking hate bees, man. I think that they're a serious threat. Fuck that Al-Qaeda shit.
No, the bees are dying.
The bees.
The bees are dying.
No, those are the European honeybees, though. That's different. Those aren't the African ones that come and swarm you.
My favorite thing about the news is when they talk about like gratuitous violence and they show like 20 minutes of really violent footage while they pretend like they're talking about it, you know?
Yep. Well, I mean, there's a good example of what happened recently. I mean, when NBC decided to run that package of material they got from the Virginia Tech killer, they thought they were in the clear on that. And the reason they did was because pretty much them and every other news source out there ran a mostly unedited version of Saddam being executed that they got from that guy who took the cell phone camera shot of it. And nobody complained about that at all. And it was interesting. I think that they thought they would just be able to continue to do that, but it's all about context. Not that they should have picked that up, honestly, but it's interesting that the public is about as fickle as the news media is as far as what they're going to put up there and what they're not going to show.
It's so fucked up. Like, you know, seeing Janet Jackson's shriveled titty is such an outrage, but it's okay to watch Saddam Hussein be hung. You know, the standard.
Yeah, I completely agree. That's more of a personal problem with me. I don't think nipples are threatening to anybody. I actually heard a really funny call-in show when I was in Louisville a couple of years ago, listening to. I think it was an NPR call-in show. Now that I think about the subject matter, it probably couldn't have been that, but they were talking about wrestling.
Yeah.
And somebody called in to complain about wrestling, and I figured they were calling in to complain about the violence, but they were actually calling in to complain about how sexualized it was. They didn't particularly care that anybody was getting in the head by 2x4s or tables or, you know, other people or whatever's lying around, but the fact that the chicks were wearing really tiny bikinis was what was bothering them.
They even wrap those chairs up with the barbed wire and they get that blood all over them and everything like that. Nobody even cares about that.
Yeah, exactly. That's all fine, but, you know, you throw a nipple in there, it's like, oh, my God. But,
they were doing all that lesbianic shit on there for a while, too, though.
One thing is true, though, is mountain lions are dangerous. I done killed 2 of those fuckers since I lived out here in California in my truck, and they come creeping around, so I think that mountain lion threat might really be real.
That's right. Actually, they're probably carrying bacteria that's going to kill us all. I'm sure we'll read something about that here pretty soon.
Okay, we got to get going. Real quick, what do you think is the best news outfit out there, and which is the worst?
The best news outfit out there is actually, it's kind of under the radar. It's called Stratfor.com.
Stratfor?
Yeah, Stratfor, STRATFOR.com.
All right.
They're not really a news outfit. They're a political think tank, and they're paid to be right. The problem is that most of their stuff isn't free, but if you get a paid subscription, or if you're lucky like me and they happen to read your website, they might just give you one. But these guys are pretty interesting as far as the geopolitics goes, because it kind of conforms to what my suspicion about the way the world works is that things are not all that great, but they've never been better, which is sort of reassuring and a little bit weird at the same time. Mm-hmm. Worst news outlet out there forever, I'm actually going to give that one to CNN.
Really?
Yeah, and it's not because that they're doing a bad job necessarily, but it's because basically they're claiming to be the leader in news, and these guys are basically going way off the rails. If you take a look at CNN's top stories, 10 stories right now, I guarantee you that at least 5 of them will be complete crap, if not 9 of them.
And they don't have Greta Van Susteren either.
Yeah, well, see, there's the other problem going on. But see, CNN's kind of at a crossroads right now because they can't decide what they're going to do. Fox is eating them alive in the ratings because Fox has no trouble at all running Anna Nicole Smith retrospectives and in-depth studies on whether or not there's enough nipples in the media. And the problem is that they can't decide whether or not they want to go the news route and lose audience, or completely go the other direction and try to basically fight Fox on its own turf. So it all has to do with basically what they're claiming to be. If you're going to claim to be a news leader, then be the news leader. Don't be screwing around.
I think they should just put on Larry King 24/7 and they'd be just fine.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a perfect example. There you go. I mean, talking about something that's not news. I was trying to get on the show to do the book with those guys, and we got shot down, actually, because Larry King has been told from on high that he's not allowed to do any more book reviews. They think he's becoming less timely, I guess, or something. I'm not sure.
You got to get on that Charlie Rose.
Well, speaking of timely, we are out of time, Drew, but thank you so much for being here on the Sargecast, man. Always a pleasure to talk to you, and good luck with the book.
Hey, no problem. Thanks a lot. I hope at least some of that was lucid enough to use.
Oh, it was great, man. Great analysis. Thanks so much. That's Drew Curtis, everyone. He's from Fark.com, of course, and he's the author of the new book, It's Not News, It's Fark. You can get your copy now at Amazon.com or wherever fine books are sold. All right, coming up, we're going to talk to Johnny O'Banion to see what he thinks about books and what books you need to read to get inside the minds of celebrities right after this word from our sponsor.
Woo! The Infected Festival of Books is brought to you by Books for Seniors. We read to old people so you don't have to. And now Tyson Beckford reads to an old person.
Nurse! Nurse! I don't want this black man in his underpants in my room anymore! Nurse!
Shut up, you withered old man, or I swear to Christ I will snuff you out. I will pull your plug. I will extinguish your weak flame, and no one will ever even know. No one will even miss you. I'm Tyson fucking Beckford, and I'm here to read to you. And you're going to listen, and you're going to like it. Now, I'm going to take my hand off your mouth, and you're not going to say a fucking thing, old man. You're going to sit there, and you're going to let me read. You're going to let me read about Ralph Lauren's spring collection. And he got his inspiration for the new stone chinos after observing a glacial stone while riding one of his palominos through an open valley on his Colorado ranch.
Books for Seniors. We read to old people so you don't have to. Volunteer today. God damn, I love the open road. I'm free out here, hitting 80 miles an hour, nothing can touch me. I just love pointing her down this stretch of blacktop and just humming along until my thoughts start to unwind. So, sometimes I start to think about the things I could have been in life, and, it does make me kind of sad, but mostly it's a good sad, like thinking about an old friend who got killed too young, like maybe in a hunting accident or falling off a water tower drunk. You miss them, but you love knowing. Sometimes I wonder a lot about what I'd been like as a famous pop star. I know it's kind of weird, but I think about it like as if I was an 80s pop star, back when I was young.
Every time she looks at me, sparkle in your eyes, she's moving in the sky, it's alright, alright. China sparkle in your eyes, she's moving in the sky, it's alright, alright.
Fuck me, that was disturbing, man. What was I thinking about? I need a fucking coffee, man. Shit, no, I need a fucking brandy. Hope the shifty room's open. I'm pulling off for a drink.
And welcome back to the Infected Festival of Books. That was quite something there. That little camera I installed in your truck that records not only your image but your thoughts. That was quite a probing. I don't know what to make of that, actually.
Well, that's when I do my best thinking out on the open road.
That's your best thing. That's people,
clarity.
Some people don't like books. They like movies. And if you're one of those people, then what you want to do is sign up for Netflix. And if I got a deal for you, just go to www.netflix.com/infected. We're going to give you 2 weeks for free when you sign up from Netflix. No late fees. Public library, they got those overdue fees and everything. Not at Netflix. No late fees ever. So why don't you go sign up right now? 2 weeks for free. www.netflix.com/infected.
Some people don't like to have their chest licked by 2 twins that work at the Applebee's down there either. But you know what I say to those people? I say, fuck you. Because I don't like those people either. What are you laughing at?
I'm crying on the inside because I want to meet these fucking twins down at the Applebee's. Or the TGI Fridays, or the Chili's. I don't care where they fucking
Well,
work.
I'm stuck on these 2 Applebee gals. They are fucking fabulous.
I
write a book about them.
I never even knew he was literate, but it turns out our entertainment reporter, Johnny O'Bannon, he's quite a bookworm.
Oh, man.
He's quite a bookworm.
That guy, he's written a few books, I think.
And what he's going to do right now in this installment of View from the Canyon is tell us how to understand the celebrity mind through literature. So without further ado, here's Johnny O'Bannon with his view.
Take it away, Johnny O.
Johnny.
Hello. This is Johnny O'Bannon coming to you live from the tippity top of lovely Laurel Canyon, Los Angeles, California, with all the entertainment news you need to know. First off, news flash. Everybody knows you can't get inside the minds of the celebrities. No, they're mercurial little bastards. They're so confusing. Can you take them apart? Can you put them back together? Can you take a monkey wrench and bang their skulls, spill their brains on the sidewalk, and pick them up like tea leaves and read the future? I don't think so. No, if you want to get inside the mind of a celebrity, you gotta do something pretty simple. Compared to breaking their skulls open to read their brains, that is. When I say simple, I mean bookshelf. Ha ha! That's right. You gotta take a look at the celebrity bookshelf and see what they're reading if you really want to gain insight into the mind of the celebrity and all the wonderful things they think and all the wonderful things they're dreaming of doing tomorrow, next week, next month, sometime before the world explodes. Let's begin. First off, if you really want to know what's on every celebrity's mind, you want to go for the wonderful bit of literature that I found in a junk shop not 2 blocks from the home of Elmer Gantry. He was a celebrity in the 40s. Helpful hints for party givers. Now, this doesn't look like much of a read. It's only just a few pages long. But I can tell you, it's worth it for midnight menus alone. Holy cannoli, if you want to know what the celebrities are really up to after the lights go down, you gotta get helpful hints from party givers. All right, next on the dock. Ooh, that's dangerous, because you know and I know that every celebrity likes to live on the edge. They like to do what's not expected. They like to throw a lasso around the sun and drag it in, pop it in their mouth just to see what it does to them. Yeah, celebrities, you can't trust them. You can't shoot them. Of course you can shoot celebrities. What am I talking about? I've lost my mind. But let's get back to That's Dangerous. This is a fantastic picture book. A lot of celebrities like picture books because they're very simple and easy to understand. Standing on a swing, that's dangerous. Hiding in a washing machine, oh, dangerous. Climbing on your mother's shelves is so dangerous. That's dangerous. Jumping down the stairs, look out. Smoking cigarettes, whoo, dangerous. Look out. Sticking your head in the oven, oh, Nelly, that's dangerous. Wait, what's next? What's next? Playing with scissors, chop, 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 chop. Snip, snip, snip. Dangerous. Anyway, you get the idea. It's a handy reference guide for celebrities to take a look at before they go out for the evening, before they go on a dangerous movie set. They say, is this safe? Let's see, Drink and Drano. Is that safe? No! That's dangerous! And of course, to close, the Far East and Savage Lands. This is a very rare text that has passed from celebrity to celebrity in Laurel Canyon and elsewhere in Los Angeles for more than 50 years. Everyone wants to know about the Far East and Savage Lands because everyone understands here in Los Angeles that one day the giant fire riders are going to come out of the desert and they're going to be wearing helmets made of horn and bone and coats made of bits of mirror and broken glass. And they are going to be savages, of course. And they're going to harvest everybody that's not a celebrity. And the celebrities will be lifted on high and be immortalized forever as long as they've boned up on the old textbook on how to survive when the Far Eastern Savage Land people come. I tell you more about this book, but I don't think you're ready for it. And on that note, hey, that was View from the Caddy with Johnny O'Brien. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, Johnny. Illuminating.
Damn,
as
good.
Always. You
I
know,
love that,
the dude should work for like Fox News or.
I like if he wrote a book.
He should do. No, he should work for like The Insider with Pat O'Brien. I bet him and Pat O'Brien would be like real fast friends.
I don't know
They're
why.
Kind of like kindred spirits, those two.
Sometimes when I get in my car, like in the morning or night, I always check the back seat because I'm always kind of afraid Johnny O'Banian's going to be in the back seat. I don't know why.
No, that's like me with Pat O'Brien. That's what I'm saying.
I think I saw Pat O'Brien in my yard the other night. He had like one of those Poseidon tridents. And his mustache was all glistening.
With what we don't know. Well, that's all the time we have for the Infected Festival of Books.
Wait, hold up. You got to read us a time. Man, we were on the book special. You got to read us a little bit of excerpt from one of your stories.
I don't think we have time.
Just come on, man. Just read it.
I don't know, man. We don't have time for a story tonight.
Okay. No, I'm fucking with you, man. Read a story.
All right. One short story, being that it is the Infected Festival of Books. A story about the joys of reading. Once upon a time, there was a boy named Sandy, who was a great reader. All day long, Sandy would have his nose in a book, and his imagination would take him to faraway lands filled with scary dragons and trolls, heroic warriors, and powerful wizards. He loved reading so much that he never joined the other school children for games of kickball at recess, preferring to sit in the shade of the old elm tree and use his books to explore strange, faraway lands. Well, because of this, the other school children didn't like Sandy, and ridiculed him mercilessly about his fat thighs and thick glasses, both the result of leading the sedentary life of a reader. But Sandy didn't care about the mean names everyone called him, like the Library Fairy or Harry Potter's bitch, for he knew that the only friends he needed were the elves and hobbits of his books. But one day, as Sandy was sitting under his elm tree reading The Dragon Riders of Pern for the 18th time, Stevie Leathersitch walked up to him with the kickball, placed it on the ground about 9 feet from him, and kicked it into his fat face as hard as he could, smashing Sandy's glasses into 100 tiny fragments. "My glasses!" cried Sandy. "I can't read without my glasses!" And using all of his strength to do so, Sandy stood up in a rage and picked up a fallen branch from the elm tree and pretended it was a magic sword. He lumbered slowly towards Stevie Leathersitch to smite him, just like a heroic warrior would an evil dragon in his books. But without his glasses, Sandy couldn't see a goddamn thing. And when he got to Stevie Leathersitch and swung his elm sword at Stevie's head as hard as he could, he didn't realize he was actually hitting Melinda Holbrook right in the back of her neck as she ate her peanut butter sandwich, killing her instantly. And so Sandy spent the next 6 years in juvenile hall. But he was happy because they gave him a new pair of glasses, and there was a library there with all the books he could read. The end.
That's a terrible story. I like that name, Sandy.
That's a nice story. Sandy was happy in the end. It's a happy story.
Yeah, but I wish he'd gotten a couple cracks in on that Stevie Leathersitch. That son of a bitch. Man, I can't stand a kid like that to kick a kickball in some fat kid's face, man. I wish that kid had just beat him. I wish he'd taken that stick and just beat him to fucking senseless. Right there in front of everybody.
Maybe he will when he gets out of prison. Maybe he's toughened up a little.
I'm going to write a book about that.
There you go.
Sandy beating.
And I'm going to go on a crime spree.
And Sandy's
so that I actually do have something to write about.
Sandy's not going to stop there. After he beats him, he's going to go down the street and just start beating everybody.
Well, that really is all the time we have for the Infected Festival of Books. I'd like to thank my friends Ricky Kang, Drew Curtis, and Johnny O'Banion for stopping by. For the Gator, this is Martin Sargent reminding you, don't get ripped by the Riptide. We'll see you at the bar, or maybe at the library.
Bye, friends.
Passed out in the stacks, pissing yourself.
You've been watching and listening to Infected. If you're still watching, then maybe you should read this little book. It's a story about two guys that sit on a couch. It's kind of a dirty couch, and they come to you every week or 2 weeks, and they do a little story, and they do a little shake and a little dance, and they sometimes talk to people, weird people or nice people, whoever it is. And the real moral of this story is by the time it's over, you're infected. Surprise! There you go. The end.
Infected is written by Martin Sargent, Jay Speiden, and Stewart Engesser. Camera and audio by Dave Chung and Han Choi. Edited by Glenn Mekalos. Music composed by Kevin MacLeod. For more, go to sargeworld.com and join us on MySpace at myspace.com/infected by Martin Sargent.
Joey.